Good evening. This meeting of the Planning Commission for the City of East Ridge will now come to order for February the 5th, 2024. And can I get a roll call, please, Ms. Middleton?
Chairperson Tuggle,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Howe,
Here.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Here.
Commission Member Williams, Commission Member Witt. Excuse me.
Thank you. And I trust everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from the January 3rd, 2024 meeting, and I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Vice Excuse me, Vice Chairperson Howe,
Yes.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Yes.
Commission Member Williams, Chairperson Tuggle.
Yes. Okay, there is an item on the agenda that says there will be communication and comments by the public. We're actually going to do each one of those when the item is brought up, so you'll each have an opportunity to speak. So we are going to do the communication, but it'll be before each item of new business, and we're going to go into that just right now. There being no old business, the first item of new business is 6A, review and discuss for approval of the Local Parks and Recreation Fund grant, be presented by Cameron McAllister. Cameron?
Good afternoon. All right, let me pull some stuff together real quick. All right, so the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation requires that the City of East Ridge staff present this project before the city's Planning Commission for approval so that we can move forward with this project at East Ridge Community Center. I believe that Melissa provided in the packet this week or last week the memo that kind of goes into depth what the project is. We'll read through that. And then there's also a contract with just like the budget slip to show you the money that's allocated towards this project. So the City of East Ridge applied for a local Parks and Recreation funded grant through the Department of Environment and Conservation back in October and November of last year. And we've been in correspondence with TDEC since, and we received the full approval on April the 15th of 2023. With that approval, we have $1.2 million available of funding that we are going to work on renovating and constructing a new gymnasium that is regulation court sized, as well as some renovations to the existing community center's kitchen, large room, senior room, office space, flooring, all of the things. With that said, there is a 50% match required from the city, so the city will be responsible for $600,000 of the $1.2 million, and then the state will be responsible for the remaining $6. In this grant, we will cover upgrades to all of the facilities at the East Ridge Community Center, including ADA accessibility and compliance with state regulations. We'll also expand and upgrade the existing East Ridge Community Center gym. Like I said, currently it is not regulation size, so we are looking at expanding the gym by 36 feet so that we will have a high school, is it high school or college? High school, yeah, 84 by 50 high school regulation size court. We're also going to expand and upgrade the existing multi-purpose room, which was originally known as the senior room. We're going to upgrade the residential grade kitchen to commercial grade kitchen over at the multi-purpose room as well. And then we're going to replace the flooring throughout the building, including the gym. So we'll have a new wooden gym floor, upgrade the existing restrooms, and remove one restroom out of the senior room so that we can create a hallway where there's direct access from the concession and vestibule to the back rear room. We'll also be upgrading the existing restrooms in the lobby, renovating the existing concession area, and adding additional storage for existing equipment that they utilize for all the programs here at the community center. So tonight we are just requesting approval from the Planning Commission so that we can have that on record to move forward with the grant contract.
Okay, thank you very much. And I would imagine most of the people in attendance are not here to comment on this, but I'll still invite a public comment if anybody wants to come talk about the grant to redo the community center. Now would be your chance. I don't see any public feedback. Any questions from the commission? No? Okay. In that case, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve
approval of the local parks and rec fund grant.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion from Commission Member Williams and a second from Vice Chairperson Howe. Roll call, please, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Chairperson Howell,
Yes.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Yes.
Commission Member Williams, Chairperson Tuggle.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Second item of new business is a request of Chattanooga Engineering Group to have the property located at 6807 Beulah Drive, tax map ID number 1580A021.02, and 3 unaddressed properties in the 6800 block of Beulah Drive, tax map ID 158, I think it's actually O, not 0, A0201580A021, and 1580A021.01, rezoned from R1 Residential District to RT1 Residential Townhouse District. We're going to invite the opinion from the staff, and then we will get the any questions from the commission, and then we'll get public feedback. Hello.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. So this request to rezone from R1 to RT1 be to utilize over 10 acres to construct 116 townhomes. The surrounding use is residential single-family to the north, east, south, with multifamily and single-family to the west. Proposed density for this, for the 116 units, would be 11.4 dwelling units per acre, with adjacent residential density at 1.4 dwelling units per acre. The intent of the residential townhome district is to provide compatibility with surrounding development. Townhome development of more than 8 units should be located within 500 feet of a major arterial or collector road. Beulah Drive is a local road. In your package, you will see the East Ridge Development Review Committee, which consists of many members, building official, city manager, fire chief, police chief, community economic development coordinator, and the street department supervisor. In that review letter, you'll see that it was a unanimous decision to deny, as well as a review from the traffic impact study and concerns by our city traffic engineer.
It's the most unanimous I've ever seen these parties on one subject. Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Anyone? Okay. All right, and if anybody from the public would like to come and give an opinion, feel free to step up to the lectern. Please provide your name and address, and please keep your comments to 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Get the Marine Corps Third Battalion Company conversation there, because I talk pretty fast.
That's all right. I've got a timer. Go for it.
Wonderful. My name is Mark Franklin. I'm at 6819 Beulah Drive. My property borders this property. You'll see it on that property that it says Barbara Sue Moore. That's my mother. My mother and I invested in this property because I have an 8-year-old daughter who is autistic. This house will be hers forever. I picked this neighborhood because it was quiet up there. So nice. Wonderful neighbors. Now let me get on to some facts. Facts is that on our pavement, there is only 17'1" at the widest point on that pavement. I found 15'1" at the narrowest. Double pavement is 24 foot. If it's got a double yellow line, it's 24 foot 6 inches. How are we supposed to pass a bus and a truck that's carrying trusses for townhouses? And who's going to back up when they meet halfway? Won't work. There's only one way in and one way out. Simply because that Beulah has a 90-degree turn at the bottom of the hill on the other end, that I met a tractor and trailer that came out through there one day, and he was white as a ghost and his eyes are this big, and on the other end I had to pull the mailboxes out of the ground for him to get out of our neighborhood because he messed up. How many times is that going to happen now for 115 units? Not to mention, too, there's only one way in that neighborhood and one way out. What happens if the fire truck is on the other end and we have a fire? Hamilton County or Chattanooga City cannot get to us for a long period of time. We've already lost one house back there. That grandmother has to move. Chase's grandma lost her house. I know I'm getting close. The next thing, East Ridge, how much money have you spent in fire, police, and ambulance on that apartment complex back there? I know in the summertime that every week, at least 3 times a week, I hear ambulance, fire truck, or police going back there. We can't get them slowed down. Here's the common reason. You got rental property, people don't take care of rental property. They take care of $500,000, 3-bedroom, 2 bath, 2-car garage with half an acre. You got 11 acres. 22 acres you could put a $500,000 homes on. There's people all in East Ridge that would love to be able to buy a house for $850,000 and live there.
If you have any,
Name's Mark Franklin. I'll step back.
thank you, sir. And anybody else who would like to come and speak? We'll also give the representative for the developer a chance to answer after we've entertained public opinion. Feel free to come up. Name and address, please.
My name is Lloyd Looney, and my wife and I live on Frawley Road, 430 Frawley Road. We've been there about 6 months, and my wife also has owned the property at 39 Frawley Road, which there's an L-shaped property, and it backs up to this property that we're talking about here. So obviously our concern is just, again, about the residency requirements. We don't know all the requirements of the county and the city, but our interest is in about, again, some of the costs of the townhomes, which I heard the man indicate how much that was, but we just want to be concerned about, again, whether these are going to be for rent, what's going to be the maximum occupancy that's going to be allowed in these townhomes as well. And, you know, again, thinking about parking as well as traffic, that's living right there on Frawley Road. I just didn't realize just how much traffic goes up and down that street. There's quite a bit that happens there, and there are no sidewalks. There's no egress seemingly on the road there, and I don't know about entirely back up further on Beulah Drive. Again, thinking just about, to me, the quality of life and the quality, if we ever wanted to build a house there on that property too, how that's going to affect our values there as well. Right now, my wife has owned the property. She bought it from her grandfather many years ago. We've owned it, haven't developed it. Our intent was to develop it, but we're going to have to reconsider that, of course, according to what kind of requirements do you have for the townhomes themselves.
Great, thank you. And under 2 minutes, thank you. All right, who else? Yes, come on up. Wait till you get a little bit closer. I can't pick you up that far away. Okay.
Rosemary Baker, and I live at 6816 Beulah Drive, or 6820, I'm sorry. And I used to live at 16. My dad bought that property when I was 3 years old, and I've lived there ever since. And my sister lives at 6804. They're both in their 90s, and we're not able to be here tonight. And my husband wasn't able to be here also. But if we could just have some housing, nice houses in East Ridge. Where we go to church, there's young people that said they would give anything to live in East Ridge, but it's an old town, no decent houses to buy. And these are the people that could buy nice houses. And I just wish we could have, like I say, it used to be a walking horse farm. That's what it was, and they kept it mowed. It's beautiful property, and I just hate to see it ruined with townhouses and maybe rental people or whatever. It would be great to have a nice subdivision in East Ridge. We really need one, and I know people that would buy them.
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. All right, looks like we have more takers. Hello, and you can give us your name and address, please.
Gail Varnell. We own the property from 101 Frawley back up to where the fence is, where they're going to finish with the property.
Okay.
I've been there 86 years. I was 3 months old when my parents bought the property. We get water off of Frawley now. Once the concrete is put in up there on top of the hill, that water's coming right down the hill, added to what's coming off of Frawley. Like the other man said, yeah, I said the address. I'm not used to doing this.
It's okay.
But we get traffic every time the interstate backs up. We get people trying to get to East Brainerd. Our corner fence the telephone pole has been replaced 3 times. The last time they put it on our side of the fence. Fence down again. 18-wheelers come out there, and they cannot make that turn if they're not a good driver. I've helped several trucks telling them whether to move over more or going down. Also, if a car is stolen out back, they don't know the road, they come around that curve. One of them went rolling down in the yard until he saw us looking, and he went back there and tore the license plate off and took off again. They do not slow down, and that is going to put more traffic on us, even though it doesn't come down that way. People getting lost all the time. And I wish y'all would take that into consideration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
This gentleman right here in this green shirt has a lot of information for you, sir. He's done quite a bit.
I believe I've gotten an email from him, so yes. It'll save me the trouble of reading it in the record if you would like to recap, sir. Go ahead.
Name is Larry Gray, 203 East Street.
Mhm.
I'm the house that's right next to the apartments, the development of 20 years ago, and now just right next to the apartment that's now being proposed. It'll be the only house between those two development projects. The home I bought in 2002 I thought was going to be our home to retire, a place quiet and reserved, and we could enjoy the woods that we thoroughly love. In any event, 2003, what happened? A development project. The apartments. Dogwood Place Apartments had no plan for water runoff. They had water running going down to the Chickamauga, but they did not have water control coming south toward my property. So I have spent thousands of dollars actually trying to control the water running over my property. Excuse me. I have put all that in my email to you. For those who haven't heard, I sent a 5-page letter to each of the council members with, may I read the list?
Sure, I was going to read the first 2 minutes of it, but you got about a minute left.
I'll never make it. I had 7 reasons for saying no and 20 other additional questions that I asked the commission for. The reasons quickly are decreased property values, increased traffic problems and pedestrian safety, school capacity, rainwater runoff management, the cultural nature and quality of life in the residential community, noise pollution, and potential crime and disorders. And the questions were in the area of school capacity, garbage pickup process, water capacity and pressure, question on sewer capacity, and questions on fire safety. I have all those details, and people want that information, they can contact me, and I'd be happy to provide that for them. I have become prepared to try to spend more time explaining all of those and helping our community to understand what that is. May I approach you?
Sure.
Want to provide you an
And I think
information?
the city staff leaders have agreed with you, so we have a lot of information on that.
This is an invitation to come visit.
Okay.
This is my house, and I'd love to just actually spend some few minutes just showing you around and showing you how we've had to work desperately to control
Cool. Thank you. I'll pass him down one. Here you go, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very park-like. Anyone else? Come on up. Hello, and if you give your name and address, please.
My name's Roy Edwards. I've been a East Ridge resident since 1987 and a property owner in East Ridge on Martha Avenue since 1996. We heard about this, and kind of surprised, really. That was a unexpected development of Beulah with the property there. Several concerns. The time that we've spent coming off of Martha Avenue, pulling onto Frawley, in the 27 years plus that we've lived there, we've seen traffic increase tremendously. Crime has increased since they put the apartment building complex back at the end of Beulah. I'm in full agreement with the lady that said single home dwellings would be a much more viable alternative than rental property. We have rental property down our street, and if there's ever any problems with parking, with trash, with stuff, junk cars, it's always rental property. The address or the concern about the narrow street is a legitimate one. We live down a street where we've been told, because my neighbor Tip Stafford and I met with the chief of police, because the duplexes that are down our street now, they're parking out in the street, not on the side. Chief of police said if there's no yellow line down the center of the road, nothing can be done unless they're just obstructing and not letting traffic through. So we're having just 3 rental properties on our street and having all kinds of problems. The traffic has been tremendously increased these last 20-some years with all the new additions, new apartment complexes and all that. It's only going to be worse if this deal goes through. So traffic needs to be definitely addressed. Can East Ridge not get a city ordinance where there's no parking on a city street? Seems like that would save a lot of hassle anywhere in town that you're driving and cars are in the street. It's always a problem to get around, and that has already been addressed here. Infrastructure, I know that they just recently completed the new water treatment plant down at the end of near where we're talking about, but how close to capacity are we getting again with all the new building that's been going on Frawley Road with the new houses and everything? Does our area of town have the capacity and infrastructure to handle all this new development and building going on? So I would ask the council to seriously consider this: traffic problems, increase in crime, rental property versus single home dwelling, and some of the other good points that were mentioned.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I think, what is the specific address on Martha?
I live at 6929 Martha Avenue.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Charlotte Gray. My voice does not work right. Sorry about that. 203 East Street. I'm Larry's wife, so you already heard a lot of our problems, and I would reiterate.
You live here.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. East Street has a lot of speeding. The stop sign, it's the motto of no cop, no stop. So it's a dangerous corner. Like other people have said, 16-wheelers have not made the corner. They've taken out the fire hydrant. People coming down Beulah have not made the corner. We've had multiple people, the cars go into our yard. We've had some police reports on some of those. When I pick up the trash, which I do regularly along the street because it does collect, I pick up pieces of mirrors, and last week it was reflector and part of a fender from the electric pole that's by our property. It's just not a good corner. It's not good for more traffic than what it already has. Drainage is a problem, and if you look at the street, there's no culvert on the other side to go to the ditch on the east side of the street, so that's why a lot of the water, I think, goes to the west side, causes problems. Basically, in a summary, the Dogwood Apartments are there unless people know they are there. They do not see them. They are not visible. So having another large development like what the townhouses would be just doesn't seem to fit our nice, quiet residential area. So I recommend staying as it is.
Thank you. And 9 seconds under. Perfect. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Britt, 129 Douglas Drive. My family has been in that area for 100 years. We own the last working farm in East Ridge. We already have difficulties moving farm equipment up and down the roads. This is going to cause a major damage or harm to us anytime we're trying to do anything. We have no intentions of going away, selling the farm, or getting rid of it. Please don't do this. I mean, single-family homes perhaps, but multifamily, it's too much. It's too much in our area. It causes too much congestion. And the streets, again, are narrow. We're already in perilous danger, I guess you could say, whenever we do try to move any type of farm equipment or move any cows or any type of movement. So, please.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. I had a feeling y'all weren't here about the senior center.
Hi, my name is Sheila Thacker. I reside there at 6823 Beulah Drive. So the property in question is actually just right behind me also. When I did move there, I bought my grandmother's home. So it's totally, I grew up there on Martha, so I knew the horse farm was there. But I was very blessed to be able to move there and have the land. Now me, I hate to see the land go. I could kick myself now because I didn't approach Mr. Osborne for me to buy the lots directly behind me, like my neighbor did years ago. So that is my fault, and I do regret that. Mainly, I hate to see the land go. I do know that there's housing; it's needed. My concern is just I'm not sure the townhomes versus the single-family homes. I would like to see just regular homes there like we have in the neighborhood already, less of them instead of more, and that's just due to the traffic also. Our corner there at Eads and Beulah and going into Dogwood, that's one way out. The three-way stop is usually considered a one-way stop if you actually live there and go that way. A lot of people just really ride through it. But it's a lot of congestion at that corner. With the apartments there is lots of kids with the bus stop, so I imagine that would still be the same bus stop when it does develop. The other question was just like to know where the entrance is going to be at. The other way is going out Beulah, which is still, all of those roads out there are just, you know, they're really small and tiny, and it's hard for two cars to pass at the same time. Usually somebody has to stop and let the other one go by. And then the other thing is just, I feel like on top of the hill, myself and some of my neighbors have said that we have low water pressure up there now anyway, so we were just wondering what that would affect. Putting in new water lines and things, if it would help the water pressure up there, delete from the water pressure up there. We're not sure. We've had Tennessee Water out to kind of take a look at our places. They'll adjust the things at the road sometimes, but then it will still just go back to the low water pressure. So I'm not sure with us living up on top of that hill what that has to do with anything, but that is an issue that goes on too. So just on record though, I hate to see the land go. But I do know that some nice homes in there that would fit our neighborhood would be much nicer. So, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Hello, name and address, please.
My name is Clint Wilson. I live at 6800 Beulah, and it's directly across the street from the proposed development. As has been mentioned, the traffic in that area is already atrocious as it is, and I can sit outside on my porch, be out working in my yard, and see everyone. And that's not an exaggeration. Virtually everyone drives through, and nobody knows what a stop sign is. They just don't understand what it is. I've even spoken with East Ridge Police multiple times to encourage them to use my driveway, and they can sit and watch all day long. I do not care because they just run rampant through the stop sign. That's first reason. Second reason is, as Mr. Gray mentioned also, the water runoff is already horrible, and putting another development there is going to add so much to water runoff there. I can't keep grass and dirt in my yard as it is, as neither can they. because there's already so much water that runs off the hill. The last thing the traffic is the big. Water runoff is another. The road width can't handle an additional 200 plus vehicles with 116 units. It just can't. I don't know if any of y'all have driven up Eade Street at all.
We go visit. Yep.
If 2 cars go up through there, it can be done with them going at the same time and passing, but with the way some of the mailboxes are positioned, somebody is likely to hit one of them. With the way some of the light poles are positioned, somebody's likely to hit one of them if 2 cars are passing. I drive a standard F-150 pickup. It's not huge by any stretch, and I still have trouble getting up and down through there some nights when I go home. The last thing that I've got is, with the amount of traffic, with the amount of everything going on back at the Dogwood Apartments, I have trouble having my kids out in the front yard trying to ride their bikes in my driveway because of all of that traffic already. Adding an additional 200 plus vehicles would not be anywhere remotely safe for my kids. And I don't want to leave, but if this is something that goes through, it would be pretty much my ticket to find another location outside of East Ridge, probably. Because I like living here. I just can't have my kids in an unsafe position.
Right. Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, and if there's a representative from the developer or from the engineering firm, I believe it is actually. Oh, here we go. I think the primary questions are about road width, and one thing that we would like to have clarified, because it's not even super apparent from my picture, is where is the entrance and entrances to the property. That's another thing we'd like to address. But if you want to give your name and give any comments about the property, what the plans are for them, if they're to be rented or sold, generally give some feedback from the audience feedback.
Sure. I'm Alex. I'm with Legacy South Builders. I'm the applicant for the project, and Reagan Smith and Chattanooga Engineering Group are here as well. So a little bit about the project. This is all for sale homes. There are no rentals. Something that my company does is we like to build homes for first time and second time home buyers to provide, attainable housing for the younger buyer. Definitely sounds like this is an area that, the community has spoken on, and potentially, single family is the right product here. So definitely hear that from the community. But I think we can talk a little bit about traffic if you want to say a little bit about that.
Brandon Baxter with Reagan Smith. Do you need an address for me? No.
She's giving you the look. I think that means yes.
1410 Cowart Street here in Chattanooga.
Good call.
I've seen that look before.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard a lot of comments about traffic and the passion and the feeling and emotion behind those. And I, on the engineering side, study things from a more objective space. And I think related specifically to the comment that staff made about the distance from a major street or collector, in looking at the street network here, of course, these are local streets. When you look at the traffic counts that we conducted and how those traffic counts, the amount of cars on the streets, at least on Camp Jordan up to somewhere around the Jordan Run or Martha intersections, the traffic volumes on the streets are actually as high as you would find on collector roadways. So in that sense, they may be classified as locals, but there are some characteristics of them that would fall into that collector category. So I would ask that you think about that, and sometimes perception is reality, and sometimes reality is, it may be a local road, but it may function more like a higher classified road. Certainly understand the concerns about the widths on Beulah and the narrowness of that road. And the other roads, you see a minor collector in the width of 20 to 22 feet. I think as you come in on Camp Jordan, you have that width. You don't have much more than that width, but you do have that width. So And then I think as far as where we have access, we're accessing at the same place the Dogwood apartment complex does. We're not tying in, to the rear around Frawley where you've heard some of the comments. We'll be tying in right there at the same location as the front
turnaround.
door. Correct, yes. And we would have our own turnaround there. So anybody that gets up there and doesn't want to be there or is not admitted entry or something would have the ability to turn around and get back out without having to make any weird reverse maneuvers.
So it's a plan to be gated?
I've-
Oh, okay. You said admitted for
Not-
entry.
yeah,
I was-
yeah.
thought maybe I missed something.
I've
Okay.
seen other plans before that I think did have some gates, but the current one does not.
Mr. Howell, I'm thinking primarily about the response from the review of the traffic impact study.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that, since that seems to be a point of contention on road width and collector status, et cetera?
Yeah, what we received from the applicant was this site plan, which wasn't consistent with what the traffic impact study was based upon. This is what you guys have in your packet
Yes.
as well. One of the concerns was there was no site diagram illustrating the layout of the development which the TIS was based. The TIS report shows only development access and egress takes place on Eads Road north of the intersection of Eads Road and Beulah. City of East Ridge received a site plan in November 2023, which is this one, that shows the access to and egress from the new development occurs on Beulah Drive, which we this here. Which conflicts with the studies described in item 2. All the traffic assignments on Eads Road and Beulah Drive are not consistent with the development site plan received by the city mentioned above. So that was some of the concerns we had with the traffic impact study.
This is a consultant that works with the
Yes.
city for reviewing
That's our
traffic
engineer,
studies,
of record,
our engineering
yes.
firm.
Mhm.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review that?
No, sir, I do not have a copy of that.
I think either way it goes, it may be advisable to get with Mr. Howell afterwards. There was a lot of feedback from our city department heads as well as our contractors on the submission. So regardless of how it goes, I think it'd be beneficial to chat with Mr. Howell about the plan. Anything else? Any other questions from the commission? Good. Comments? You want? Okay, sure. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that came up to speak. It's nice for us to hear from our citizens that live here and have invested and lived in East Ridge for a long time. I certainly appreciate it as a homeowner in East Ridge as well, and so I want to thank you all for coming this evening. And yeah, practicing your opportunity to come and speak with us. So thank you, and thank you to the developer for presenting your project to us. You know, we're absolutely happy to see this type of investment in East Ridge. We do have concerns around the density and safety and the roads, obviously, and you've heard that from our citizens as well. And so I just wanted to say thank you.
Likewise, I spoke to several of you that came up and spoke. I have concerns as well concerning that, but thank you for your input. It's very valuable to us and for us. I have a question for the developer. He made a comment that maybe R1 single-family homes is the way to go. So I'll just be blunt. Are you thinking of sending your request for the rezoning before we take action up here?
Not at this time.
Not this time? Okay.
But, we'd be happy to come back.
Okay.
It definitely sounds like, the feedback here is that that's the right decision, or could be the right decision for these parcels. So
Okay.
wouldn't resend this one.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howell. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the request for the rezoning from R1 residential to RT1 residential townhome.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to deny from Commission Member Williams and a second from Vice Chairperson Howell. I'm going to roll call, please. Remember, a vote of yes means you're voting yes to deny.
Vice Chairperson Howell.
Yes.
Commission Member Cornelius.
Yes.
Commission Member Williams.
Yes.
Chairperson Tuggle.
Yes. All right, thank you. If you want to get with Mr. Howell afterwards, he'll give you some information on next steps and possible revisions. Sounds like your neighbors welcome you just in R1. Okay, and the third item on the new business, 6C, is the request of Dorothy Stubbston to have the property located at 707 South Germantown Road, tax map ID 156LH016, rezoned from R1 Residential District to C2 General Commercial District. There we go. Mr. Howell, do you want to give an opinion, and then we'll hear from the applicant?
All righty. Yes, members of the Planning Commission, the request to rezone from R1 to C2 would be to utilize an existing building as an art studio and dance classes with quite a bit more listed on there, and I'll let you do that as well, name those off. But surrounding land use are single family to the north, east, south, and west. The closest C2 district is approximately 3,268 feet to the south of the site at Ringo Road. Surrounding development form is small suburban single-unit residential lots. Introduction of a C2 zone may have concerns related to location and lighting.
Does staff have a recommendation?
This one's kind of peculiar because Germantown, being how it is, why there has never been any C2 introduced to it is beyond me, especially with the close proximity of this parcel in I-24. There are not many, the site is surrounded by single family, but you have a really good buffer distance between these single families in this area. My only recommendation, and I think City Council has done this in the past, would be to place some sort of condition on the property that, if it was ever to cease the use of an art dance class studio, it would revert back to R1 district. I think City Council did that to the 483 Camp Jordan Parkway, if I'm not mistaken, Mayor Williams, where the hospital's at, rezoned to O2. If ever it ceases to exist, it goes back to, I think it's the C1 district. But
Is this the former Action Church?
yes, it is.
It's actually a zero basis border region property, so I hear what you're saying. It's actually it is in the border region map.
Mm-hmm. And from my understanding from the applicant, I think there will be some retail sales in this
Just a tiny bit.
tiny bit.
Yeah.
You may want to give some coaching about the Border Region Development Act, but yes,
Would be,
I understand.
that would be good. That would be good.
I'm happy to do so at any point. All right, and if you would like to introduce yourself and kind of the plan.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Stubbston. I have a dance studio currently in the North Shore. I live in East Ridge. I love East Ridge. I've lived here the majority of my adult life. I would like to bring some art and culture to East Ridge. So in this space, we would like to have do dance recitals, theater productions, art exhibits, poetry readings up in what would be the initial sanctuary part, and then the dance classes, pottery classes, all kinds of stuff in the bottom like that, in the bottom.
Great, thank you. And I'll probably have you come up in a moment if there's any public feedback and give a statement or response. Great. Is there anybody here who would like to speak either for or against? Yes, feel free to come on up. You know by now, give your name and your address, please.
My name is Mike Trotter.
Mm-hmm.
I live at 3315 Gleason Circle, and my house and property is adjacent to the property at 707 South Germantown Road. And I've owned the house since 1996. My mother passed away, got it through inheritance. My mother and father bought it in 1958. And between my house and this building, it used to be the Action Church up there, there's a creek and a wooded area. And we learned last summer, spoke to the commission last summer, that the Action Church was interested in building a parking lot adjacent to my house, my property. See, my house, property line, my house goes about 15 feet towards the creek, and then the rest of the creek, the rest of that ground, about 50 feet, belongs to the church. I guess it belongs to Mr. Stubbstein now. See, there's a creek, wooded area between my house and what used to be the church building up there in my neighborhood. And the Action Church last year, we learned, had interest in building a parking lot next to my house and putting a bridge across the creek there up to their parking lot and build a road in front of my house. Obviously, people in my neighborhood, we had concerns about this, a parking lot right by my house. It'd make my property value go down to zero. You know, if I'm getting up in age, I might need to sell the house at some point. And I have no, the Action Church moved, and Mr. Mayor found out, had just learned the Action Church moved to, was planned to move, and they did move to, was it Spring Creek Baptist building. And I have no objections to, the building at bids has been placed there at 707 South Germantown Road. My neighbors, we'd have concern about a parking lot or any type of, that's built on our side of the creek there. It's in between our neighborhood and the building up there. That would be our concern. I have no problem with a business being placed in what used to be the Action Church there. I have no problem with that.
Sure.
But I'm concerned, is there plans to build a parking lot on my side of the creek there, or a building or something?
Mr. Howell has planned, and also there are setback requirements for C2. You can't just build to the edge of your property anymore. So there'll be setback requirements regardless. That's part of the zoning requirements. So you can't build anything to the edge of a property, and except for a couple of like townhome districts allow it. But in this, what's the setback requirement, Mr. Howell?
When you have a C2 abutting an R1, that's a whole different story. I mean, yeah,
Right.
when it's C2 to C2, yeah, you can build almost on the property line.
Right.
Just have a 10-foot separation. But the parking lot layout wouldn't change to what you're describing in the back here. I think they had 4 spaces proposed on it.
I mean, is that on my side of the creek you're talking?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir, it's not.
Yes, sir.
No, it
Well-
would retain the same parking as there, just
Yeah.
more delineated in
Well,
this area.
I have no objection to that, at all. I just, the Action Church, was wanting to build a parking lot right next to my property.
Sure.
And, our neighbors were concerned about that. And so you're saying you have nothing you plan to build on my side of the property there, the creek? There's nothing, you're going to do anything on my side there?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe
And,
Pastor Beard at the time when they were wanting to do that didn't realize what actually, when they started removing some of the trees in that area, that
Well,
what they actually
Right.
got into.
I have mowed the grass there since all my life, actually. My mother and father bought the house in 1958, and I've owned the house since 1996. Do you object to me mowing the grass on my side of the creek there? That's your property? I've always done that. Do you have any objection to that?
Well, it's not my.
He's a city representative. He
Yeah,
works for the city.
I don't.
You may
this
chat.
is not my.
Yeah, you may chat with the applicant about that. We're
Okay.
just the government.
So you're saying, okay, I guess I found all I need to know. They don't plan to build anything on my side of the creek.
Right, and they can't. And for the record, the applicant is shaking her head, so I would go with that as well. So,
That's fine. Y'all have objected a business being placed at Old Action Church. I have no objection to that at all. Our neighbors, we're concerned about, a parking lot to be built on our side of the creek there, that branch there. No activities planned on that side. That's all.
great. Thank you very much. Anybody else who'd like to give an opinion? Come on up, sir. If you don't mind giving your name and address too.
Got a handout here.
Okay. We like show and tell. Yes, sir.
2 minutes. My name is Stephen Leach. I live at 519 Donaldson Road. I've lived in this community for about 60 years now. Saw the interstate getting finished up and saw Germantown Road getting widened from a nice 2-lane road to a major 5-lane road. 47 years. This church has been church building has been in existence. It's always been used for a church, except for a short-term ministry application that was done by Score International for several years. 2 aspects of this really concern me. The immediate issue, of course, is the zoning case. I passed out to you the information, heard Mike's comments about it, about the use. But the real issue is establishing a spot zone here, which is really what this is. There's no commercial zoning along here. There is about 0.6 of a mile down at the terminus of the South Germantown and Ringo Road. There is a commercial node down there, but not in this area, which has been fortunate because these are small lots abutting adjacent to the Germantown Road. And some of the topo is really bad as far as access to Germantown Road. We really don't need any more traffic on it. The argument might be made, of course, this is a 5,000 square foot building, a 5,760 square foot building, and there's really no substantial uses other than what it's been used for, which is a church, which is not a bad thing. We don't object to the church use. We think it's a good use it's been that way except for that one period when it was used as more or less an office. We don't have any objections to that, but I think in 47 years of history, this has been used as a church. The other area which really is important to me is if you establish a spot zone here, you set a precedent, okay? A precedent can be good or a precedent can be bad. And you've seen it all over the community. Every Ringo Road was at one time residential. But like on East Brenner Road, which is near my church, same thing is happening now. They widen the road, and all of a sudden, everybody comes in for a rezoning request. It establishes a precedent, and it makes it harder to deny. And if you look along the fabric of that road, they're all single-family houses until you get to the terminus. And so there's no sense in introducing that. True, it's five-lane cross-section, but it also functions really well. And it will be a really bad situation if commercial is introduced and then we have a precedent set. One comment might be, look along Ringo Road. There's plenty of commercial buildings that are not currently being used. This use she can stay in East Ridge. This use can go along Ringo Road with a ton of surplus commercial buildings. They're all over the place. Doesn't take much to look at it. So my suggestion is look elsewhere, but not along Germantown Road, and let this be another church. It's appropriate, and I think the community would appreciate that. That concludes my comments. If you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. All good. Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak either for or against the application? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
My name's David Plum. I live at 612 Stimson Drive.
David Plum? Yep.
Plum, P-L-U-M-B.
Oh, no, I said it wrong, but he did. He said it correctly. There you go.
My house is just down the road from the current church. Typically, the church would not cause a lot of problems in the neighborhood, depending on what was going on when they would have a festival. Sometimes traffic would be very bad there on Maple Lane that's on the corner where this church is set. So if, Sunday afternoons, probably not too bad. Wednesday night, not too bad. But if you start doing that 7 nights a week, from 8 in the morning till 10 at night, you could create some traffic problems there on Maple Lane. You could have some carryover into the neighborhood. Anytime the interstate's backed up, my road on Maple Lane, man, it gets bad. Cars come through there really fast. I have a grandchild. He plays in my yard. I try to make sure that he's not out on that lane. I want to make sure that we don't increase traffic through Maple Lane where it ties over to Donaldson. If you go down Gleason, you can tie back through there. So my concern is the unknown traffic pattern that a new business there would create versus a church have been there, like you said, for 40 years. The neighborhood knew what was going on there. I'm not against the idea of a dance studio. I'm not against the idea of an art class or something there. But should that business leave, now am I going to have to start worrying about it being a retail outlet there, being a discount retail outlet there, and creating a lot more problems in the neighborhood? Said earlier that you could put some kind of condition so that if they don't continue to be an art studio or something that has low impact, that you could rescind that order or that zoning change. Is there a way to make sure that's what happens as this moves forward? Or if you grant this zoning change, are now we going to be stuck with a commercial outlet there with no way to fight it versus having to come back in here and go through this whole process again?
Yeah, we can set conditions on any approval. We can. Yeah.
Again, 3 or 4 days a week, it's not bad, but that Maple Lane turn right there, there's been accidents there. You've got very fast traffic coming up underneath that interstate. Somebody trying to turn on either side could create even more problems on that road. So that's kind of what would be my concern, is the traffic pattern, the new business there that could create. If it was just event space like that, probably wouldn't be a problem. But I'm more concerned about what's happening after this person gets the zoning request and the next person.
Sure. I understand.
That's all I have to say. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Everyone had their chance? Any questions? Oh, sorry. Missed you in the corner there.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
Daniel Beard, pastor of Action Church, resident at 3421 Myra Avenue on the east end of East Ridge. When we were presented with offers Of course, as a church, we prayed. We had several churches look at this property. We wanted a church to move in. Me, as the chairman of the East Ridge Minister Association, I was all for another church. I called 2 churches here in East Ridge that currently meet at locations where they lease out the property and tried to work with them to get the financing. Things did not happen as I wanted them to. So we put it on the market. We had multiple offers come in on this property. And when we got down to it, we prayed, my council and I. With that, I said, you know what, I live at the east end of Tennessee. I have no problem with a dance studio on the east end of Tennessee. My daughter's in dance. She is 8 years old. She dances at her school. We've had her at a dance studio before. I said, this is something that East Ridge needs. I'm learning more about the arts and wonderful things that would bring to our community. You know, East Ridge certainly needs more churches, but the building is not the church. Though a church has met there for 47 years, I believe Action Church proves that the people are the church and the work that they do. And so I'm for the zoning request tonight with those contingencies. I like the contingency idea because I love the fact that a dance studio would come in to move in. So,
Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions from the commission?
I do. What would the business hours be, the studio?
A couple of classes in the morning, and the majority of the classes in the afternoon, later afternoon, after, 4 and 5. We're usually done by 8 o'clock. We don't do late hours. And even if we had an event, like a dance recital, I want to be home by 10 o'clock. So,
Okay.
yeah, we usually have classes every day, but we're not a 9 to 5 or a 11 to midnight. We don't do that. It's broken up in the morning and night when people would want to dance, because you got to live your life during the day.
Thank you.
You're still
Just
trying that,
curious.
aren't you, Mr. Howell?
Yeah, I am.
And the zoning request, is that also to secure financing for the building?
Well, it's probably for the purchase. She probably has to have it zoned
Purchase.
to purchase it.
What, I'm sorry? I don't understand the question.
I'm sorry. Oftentimes, when you're seeking financing for the purchase of the building,
Mhm.
if it's not zoned as you're trying to obtain the loan, is that part of your reasoning for
Yes,
rezone? Yes. Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any further discussion? Okay, entertain a motion to either approve, deny, amend, I'm sorry? Sure. We'll give you a brief follow-up question. All right. You want me to,
Had the opportunity, staff did send me the information about the use of the space, and I'm sure y'all have that in your packet. And it's more than dance studio. It's, there's a lot of workshop issues going on. They want to do a sculpture garden and all that. They're affiliated with Gate 11 Distillery, Chattanooga Film Festival, Snapdragon Cannabis Company, just to name a few, with others to work. It appears to me it's much broader in use than a dance studio. A dance studio is one thing. I think it appears to be an event center. Event centers don't stop at necessarily, at 8 o'clock at night. And that's the issue, I think, before the board, is that, it's not just a dance studio per se. According to what they've submitted to the board, it's much larger issue. Thank you.
sure.
And Mr. Howell, because it's always been a church, it's never been zoned other than R1?
I believe it's always been R1, probably urban residential at one point, but churches are allowed in the R1, so they can be placed anywhere within a residential district.
The church was there before the rezone of, what was it, 84 or something, when we did the big strip zone thing. I think the church was already there, so it wouldn't really have been affected.
No, it wouldn't have.
Anything else? All good? All right, entertain a motion to approve, deny, or amend. table, approve, deny, amend? Don't all speak at once.
I'm going to ask another question.
Okay, could do that too.
Sorry.
That's all right. You're the mayor.
So, well, I'm not pulling mayor approval.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, council, commission member.
Yes. So, could you elaborate a little bit more on to Mr. Leach's point? You do have several other business
We have business.
activity that is listed here with some of the things was. Go ahead.
No, we have been affiliated with those with those businesses. You have Snapdragon here in East Ridge.
Yes.
And they just sponsor us, meaning that they think our business is awesome and they help, help us along. But if we do events, we're going to be done early. Like if we did a recital or a student showcase, or if we were at Chattanooga Film Festival, we'd be still done early. We're not going to be a late night, 3 a.m. event space like that.
What are the type of events and activities? I noticed you've listed a few other things here. Scenic burlesque.
Scenic City Burlesque, yes, it's a burlesque troupe here in Chattanooga.
Party Girls Dance
Mhm.
also. Okay.
And those are and that would be where the dance classes came from.
Okay.
And we've been in business now for 6 going on 7 years, where, like I said, we started here in East Ridge. We moved to a space with Chattanooga Aerials. Then we moved to the North Shore, and we're under Las Margaritas across from El Primo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Member Williams. I'll still entertain any kind of motions anyone feels like motioning.
I have some concerns maybe about this last part that you brought up, burlesque going on. What's this about now?
Yeah, if you'd like to give a quick 30-second statement, you're welcome to, but it would have to be at the microphone to be recorded. No, you. Yes, you. If you want to give a quick statement, you can. I'll let the other gentleman make a quick follow-up.
I have no objection to that. Art studio, what is this, a dancing burlesque show going on? What is this about now?
Are you do you want to say yours, and I can come up and say mine, or are you asking me right now? I mean,
Yeah, you would have to give a statement, and then she could give a statement.
I'm
but
sorry, I apologize.
That's all right.
I have no objection to a dance studio, art studio. What is this, a burlesque type show at this building? Entertainment type thing, burlesque? Is this what?
It is in the application, yes.
I don't approve of that. I mean, I have a little bit of a problem with that. I'm a kind of conservative type person and have no problem with the art studio, dance classes, dance studio, anything like that. If it's a good business, but I don't know, I like the idea of that burlesque stuff going on. And I'm kind of conservative type myself. Was there something about drinking going on?
I don't see that. I think that's controlled differently in the city code. I don't think you can have alcohol served, can you, Mr. Allen?
This one, yeah, there's no alcohol being served.
Yeah,
with
that's
this,
a little bit out of our purview, but I didn't think so.
And
Understand burlesque nature. I don't. Scantily clad ladies putting on a show or something like this. I don't like that.
It does say burlesque. That's all I know. So yes, sir.
I wouldn't be in favor of that, but I have no
Thank
problem
you,
with a dance.
I understand. Sure, if you'd like to say something, you're welcome to.
We do have burlesque classes. We are not scantily clad. We know the blue laws of Chattanooga. We just performed at Gate 11 Distillery just this past weekend, and nobody was scantily clad.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we normally allow one statement, then one. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but that's been the procedure for a long time, so try to stay with it. Anyone else? Still not seeing a rush toward the motion. Tabling is also an option, whatever, anything that moves it forward.
Mr. Howell, did the city have a recommendation?
Like I said before, it's very odd that Germantown, was never developed as C1. And Mr. Leach is correct. I mean, this would create a spot zoning. Undeniably, it would. that's where this could be placed on, a condition on it. I know that some of these words in this, burlesque, I believe, and I can't speak for that, but this is a dance company. They just teach you how to do these things. It's not something that you're going to be coming here and, and people are going to be watching, from my understanding. So with that being said, with it being spot zone, I don't like spot zones, and I normally say, no, that's not good. You do have a property that's in the border regions and help create some additional funding, and in my opinion is, in staff's opinion, to approve based on, a condition placed on the property.
You want to make a motion, Mr. Howell? Oh, no? Just checking.
I do not, no.
Anybody? Don't look at me, I have to abstain. I know the applicant, so that's not me.
I'll make, I too am not fond of spot zoning, but conditioning it, I don't think I'd have a problem. I do, dance studio, I'm fine with it. I'm not sure of other activities, if there's, I just have some concerns with some of the things in the application.
Would you like to say that in the form of a motion?
I'd like to see it continue to be used. I don't think it will be a residential, but I'm going to make a motion to deny the request.
Okay, we have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to deny from Commission Member Williams and a second from Commission Member Cornelius. Can I get a roll call, please? And a vote of yes is a vote to deny.
Vice Chairperson Howe,
No.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Yes.
Commission Member Williams,
Yes.
Chairperson Tuggle.
Abstain. All right, if you would like to speak with Mr. Howell afterwards, he can give you some direction on how to proceed from here. And that being the conclusion of the new business, this meeting is adjourned.